Hi there, I'm Vincent Boss and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing why am I still attached to my ex? I provide audio and email coaching to help people try and get their ex back or get a new girlfriend or boyfriend. Check out my website for more details. www.dateme.tips. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. So now let's get back into today's podcast, and today we are discussing why am I still attached to my ex? So if you have been through a breakup, then you might be wondering, why do you still have feelings for your ex? You might have gone through a messy breakup, it might have been stressful, there might have been arguments, there might have been begging, pleading, and a lot of emotion, or maybe your breakup was more low-key. But either way, you might be just saying to yourself, this has been a breakup, I'm now single, we're no longer together. So why do I feel an attachment to my ex? Why do I feel that we are two pieces of a puzzle? Why do I feel that no matter what happens in my life, I will always be wondering what is happening in their life? Why, after everything that has happened, do I still feel this attachment? Why do I feel that I can never move forward with my life without thinking of my ex, not just in the back of my mind, but in the front of it as well? Why does this happen? Surely the breakup itself should be everything that I needed to know as for why I shouldn't be focusing on this person anymore. So for the people who feel this way, today's podcast is for you. Today's podcast is going to be explaining as for why people still feel attachment to their ex after the breakup. It could be shortly after the breakup, it could be months after, it could be years after. Why do you feel that? I'm going to be getting into this right now in today's podcast. First of all, I'm going to be concentrating on the dumper's perspective. So if you're a dumpy and you're wondering, well, why do I feel attachment to my ex? Please make sure you keep listening through today's podcast, because I'm going to be getting into it from your perspective in just a little while. So first of all, we're going to be discussing it, as I said, from a dumper's perspective. Why do I feel attached to my ex? So you as the dumper made the decision to end the relationship. You, in essence, had the power. In this particular situation, your ex didn't want the relationship to end, whereas at the time you did. Maybe you still feel it was the right decision. Maybe you now regret it, but whatever perspective you're coming from, you still feel this attachment towards your ex, and you're wondering why. If I ended the relationship, if I made the decision, if I made a decision that upset my former partner, then why do I feel this attachment? I've made a very big decision here, a decision which caused pain and anguish, and it really caused a rift between me and my former partner. Why now do I feel an attachment? Because that can feel very, very confusing to get your head round when you've been the one to make the decision to end a relationship. You almost feel guilty that you still feel an attachment. You feel guilty but you could have made this decision, which you might not even regret at this point, but you still feel the attachment. How could I have upset somebody that I feel so close to in a certain way in my mind? And the reason for this is because you shared life together. Your ex, the dumpy, was part of your life story, and therefore they will always be part of your life. However you think about this, they was a huge part of your life. You shared some very special moments together, and therefore your dumpy will always be one of the most important characters within your life story. And quite possibly, they might be a future character within your story as well. If you are a dumper and you do get to the stage where you think, you know what, I think I've made a mistake, then you must reach out to your dumpy and let them know how you're feeling, apologise for the situation, and ask if they would like to chat with you. But I digress, and you're wanting to know, why are you feeling this attachment? You've made the decision, you ended the relationship. You're feeling the attachment. And as I said, it is because you're part of each other's story. Your dumpy is part of your story, and you have shared many experiences together. And therefore, there will be numerous moments throughout your life, sometimes every single day even, where you will have triggers that remind you of the importance that your ex, your former partner, had in your life. This could be when you hear a certain song on the radio. This could be when you smell a certain smell that reminds you of your ex. This could be when you watch a movie. This could be when you travel to a location. Whatever it is, if this is a trigger which reminds you of a past experience with your ex, you will be reminded of those times. And assuming that not all of your relationship was bad, assuming that you had some good moments of your relationship, which of course you would have done, because that is why you was in a relationship. This wasn't all bad. So assuming the fact that some, if not most of your relationship was actually positive, then these triggers will remind you of positive times. And that is why the attachment becomes clearer in the dumper's mind. Because the dumper can't go through their life without being reminded of positive moments with their ex. So many instances can remind a dumper of their dumpee in a positive way. And we haven't even got into the specific dates on the calendar yet. Whether it's Christmas, New Year, birthdays, anniversaries, these dates will automatically plant positive memories in the mind of the dumper, reminding them of times gone by where they was very, very happy, and this would be with their ex. So when a dumper is asking themselves, why am I still attached to my ex? I ended the relationship. I thought that after I did that, things would drift away in my mind. Well, the reason is you can't escape your past when you've got so many memories entwined. Now, of course, this will depend on how long the relationship was and how deep the connection. If you was together 5 years, you will have more memories and hence more triggers than if you was together 5 months. But however long the relationship was, there will always be triggers, there will always be memories, and there will always be positivity which is linked between dumper and dumpee. And that is why, from a dumper's perspective, even though they ended the relationship, they will always feel an attachment to their ex, the dumpee, because their dumpee was part of their life story, and therefore they cannot escape the fact that an attachment was there that can never be severed. It can't be severed because you're part of each other's story. You can't get rid of the past. And even when you move forward into the future, those triggers will persist. So now let's get into this from a perspective of a dumpee. Why does a dumpee feel an attachment to their ex after their ex, the dumper, broke their heart? The dumpee is probably thinking, well, the dumper has treated me so badly. They've made me feel so awful. Why do I feel an attachment to them? I should be thinking of them least of all. They should be the last person on earth I'm thinking about right now because they've just crushed my heart. Why should I be thinking about them? Why do I feel this attachment? Why do I have such a desire for somebody who hurt me so badly? Well, the reason for this from a dumpee's perspective is because from a human point of view, there is nothing more attractive than rejection. When we are rejected from something as human beings, that thing has immense power and immense value. So I always like to use this example of a job interview. So if you imagine that you've gone for a few different jobs, you've got some job interviews, and your first interview is coming up, and you think to yourself, well, I don't really want this job. It's a good backup option, but I would prefer the other jobs that I've got interviews for in the future. But, this is my first interview. I've been offered an interview, so I'm going to go for it. Even though I don't really want it, I'm just going to go for it and see what happens. You go into it a little bit indifferent. You go into it not really bothered what happens. But if and when you get that call saying you've been unsuccessful, all of a sudden you're frustrated. All of a sudden you're thinking, well, why didn't they offer me the job? I didn't really want it, but I wanted to be offered it. Why didn't they offer me this job? What's wrong with me? It is a natural human response to feel attraction in rejection. If something rejects us, then the virtue of that is that they've made a decision which we had no influence on. So therefore, they are the higher value situation and we are the lower value. So if we look into relationships, When our former partner, the dumper, ended the relationship, when they dumped us, they became higher value, we became lower value. They made a decision which we had no influence on. We had no way of changing this because we wanted to and we was unable to. And therefore, they're higher value, we are lower value. And that creates extra attraction. The attraction that you feel for your dumper now is probably like 5-10 times more than you actually felt for them in the relationship, because they have walked away from you. They have ended the relationship. They have said to you in a subconscious, if not conscious way, I don't want to be with you because I feel that my life will be better without being in a relationship with you. And that's very hurtful. That makes us feel low value, and that puts them on a pedestal. This creates the reason as for why you feel such an attachment to your ex, just as you would for that job that I just mentioned. The attachment mainly comes from the fact that you have been rejected. Now, of course, you was in love with this person. Of course, you will have the triggers that I was mentioning in the first part of today's podcast. But from a dumpee's perspective, it is mainly about the rejection. And this is because in ordinary circumstances, if somebody treated us in a way which made us feel so horrendous, we wouldn't be thinking of them in this positive light. The only reason we are is that it's through rejection that they upset us. If they upset us in another way which wasn't a rejection, then we wouldn't be feeling such high positivity towards them. We wouldn't be feeling this magnetism towards somebody or something which broke our heart. But we do, because they rejected us. They ended the relationship. They moved on to the higher pedestal. And therefore, as a dumpee, you will be feeling this level of attachment towards your ex, because not only did you not want the relationship to end in the first place, not only are you going to experience the triggers, but you was rejected. And sadly for human beings, there is nothing more attractive than rejection. If you are a dumpee and you want to try to remove this attachment that you feel towards your ex, you need to be following the advice that I give in my other podcast, where I really get in depth about what you can do to go through breakup recovery, and if and when you want to try to get your ex back, what you can do to not only try and get your ex back, but to take your mind off things so you can properly heal. Because until you heal, you won't be able to get your ex back or move forward and find somebody even better. Please make sure you subscribe and ring the bell for notifications so you can check out all of the content that I've uploaded, and you will also be notified of my future uploads and my live streams. I get in depth on all of the subjects which can help you find happiness. With or without your ex, you will have a positive future, but only if you do the right things. So please make sure you subscribe, you ring the bell for notifications, and you check out all of the available content. So I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. I hope it's helped you understand why you are feeling such an attachment to your ex, even though you are now broken up. You are going through a bleak tunnel right now in your life. You are feeling the grind, but understand this. If you keep moving forward, you will get through this tunnel. The only way to escape a tunnel is to keep moving forward. If you stand still, you will be surrounded in the darkness and the bleak feelings. If you move forward with positivity, you will get out of that tunnel and you will get into the light of positivity and future happiness. Move forward and do not stand still. That is the key to finding a brighter future. If you believe that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description.
Yeah, if you miss your ex, we can help with that. Help you get him back, or we can help find you someone else. Yeah, Vincent, the relationship coach, giving you some insight, bringing you a new approach. DateMe.tips, go and check the site, giving you advice, helping with your love life. Get your ex back or move to the next. Ain't no sweat, you know Vincent got you. Finding love ain't no problem. Yeah, DateMe.tips, check it out now.